There is no way we would not say prayers to the Almighty in the very language that the angels use in heaven itself. If you don't have your pen and paper ready, please, I ask you to try to do so. Janjaweed Alamajiri from the foothills of Futajalon, please try and bring your slate and your chalk with you, because this lecture this evening is for everybody. I want to listen, as always, very attentively to what we have to say. In Nigeria, the great zoological republic created by the British, I'm going to be as slow as possible this evening so that people can digest what we're saying. There is a grazing law in Nigeria, or should I say anti-grazing law. And the question that I want each and every one of us listening this evening, morning, afternoon, and depending on where you are, to ponder is this: why is that law not being enforced? Do you know the funniest thing about this very anti-grazing law is that this law came into existence at the height of the war of Biafra and Nigeria. So nobody could possibly accuse the judge that delivered the ruling of any bias. There's also something called tort law, where I think it's T-O-R-T. I'm not a lawyer, but I did an elective course in law in those days at now London Metropolitan University. There's something called tort law. Tort law is a law that even a mad person ought to know about. Let me give you a very simple example this evening for us to properly put into context what is happening in the zoo between law-abiding citizens and Fulani killer headsmen. I want to put it to you this way. You are a businessman, or maybe you're a homeowner, you are a father or you're a mother, and you have children, and you have a house or a home. And one morning, I decided to come to your house to take your pot of soup, or your pot of stew, or your pot of rice or beans or a wedu or whatever it is, without your permission or consent. What are you expected to do under such circumstance? This is the food you've been cooking to feed your children. All of a sudden, this stranger walks into your home and decides to make away with your pot of soup. What are you expected to do? Now, some people who are not educated, some people who are very foolish in their disposition, some people who are not, should I say, intelligent enough to reason through natural law and justice will say, oh, but there is no law guiding somebody stealing your pot of soup. Now, let me ask you, is there any law in Nigeria, against, or should I say, with any definite pronouncement on what should happen when somebody steals a pot of rice? For instance, is there any law in Nigeria that says when somebody comes to steal your pot of rice or pot of stew, this is what you're going to do? There is no law, but it's common sense. That is why it's called tort law. It's common sense. You should know that trespassing is evil. Do you know the funniest thing? The Fulanis, they knew about all of this. Very many years they've been planning to conquer each and every one of you without you knowing. It's a very stealthy, very subtle, should I say, approach, subterfuge. You will not know. They dangle one thing in front of you, maybe ethnicity or tribe or religion. As you're looking at it and hyperventilating, they are busy advancing their cause, which is this remorseless and relentless march to the Atlantic Ocean. Understand this very well. I will ask you again, go and check every written law or unwritten law in Nigeria. Is there any law that says I cannot steal your pot of soup? So because there is no law that specifically says you should not steal anybody's pot of soup or pot of or ewedu or maybe gari outside, then I should go and take it. And if I come to your house trying to carry something, to steal your food items in your house or take it without your consent, what are you expected to do? The same thing applies to the law of trespass. It's called trespass. You are a farmer. You know, the funniest thing is that there was somebody, he was selling beer in Kanu. He was doing business in Kanu. This Hisba police raided his business premises and destroyed millions of naira worth of beverage, because beer is beverage after all. If you don't know, it's beverage. They destroyed it. They said they were enforcing Hizbah, or should I say Islamic Sharia law in Kanu. This man now returned to Isikwato and decided to go into farming. Having destroyed his livelihood in Kanu, now the same Fulani headsmen came to Isikwato, went into his farm and destroyed his farm produce. What do you expect such people to do? Because I'm saying all of these things for the whole world to understand where our anger is stemming from. We hate injustice. There is palpable, or should I say, ingrained injustice in Nigeria. There is something wrong with that very place. And that is what we are seeking to correct. Nothing more, nothing less. That there is injustice. They try to camouflage it. They try to I don't know how to put it. They try to sweep all these very thorny issues under the carpet. They think everybody is as stupid as they have rendered Hausa people. But we are not stupid. We are not daft. We are not useless. There is anti-grazing law in Nigeria. My question this evening is, why is it that the Fulani people who are ruling the zoo, why are they ignoring this very law that exists? Because Nigeria is a lawless country. That's why I call it a zoo. Tell me why a government should not obey the law. They have an attorney general who is a Fulani man. He could have advised them that there is a law in Nigeria banning the movement of cattle from one place to another, but he will not tell them because he himself is part of the wider Fulani Janjaweed agenda to try and conquer people who are daft enough not to understand their game plan. I want all of you to understand what I'm saying this evening very, very clearly. Understand me. It's because their intention is to conquer. They are not coming with AK-47 initially. They never came with it. They never came with any bombs. No. They came with cattle. And some of you may be wondering, how can people use cattle as an instrument of conquest? But that was the grand design of the Fulani, encouraged, of course, by the British, to come into our land with cattle. Claiming, oh, we have come to, our cattle is in the bush. Oh, you cannot move them from there. 1 or 2 months, they start to build at the round hut. You have seen the one that we are demolishing in Ebonyi State, or the round hut and in Abia. And after a while, they have Sariki Okwa or Sariki Iza. And in the next 50 years, you're gone. And I keep saying this thing all the time to Nigerians. Why can't you people reason? Don't believe what we are telling you. Don't believe what I'm telling you. No, you don't have to. I'm only asking you to go and do a bit of, go back to history. I keep telling you all the time, say, just to a little bit, just go to history for about 1 hour a day. Just go into your Google and say, what is the original name of Sokoto? They will tell you. Who are the owners of Sokoto? They will tell you these are Hausa people. They will tell you Sokoto is Gobe. Then you ask yourself, how did this name change from Gobe to Sokoto? It is exactly what is happening today. They move one cattle in, they move one Sariki in, they move one Malam in, and that's the end of you. And then you get an emirate. Is it not happening in Jos? They say they are praising, they are very clever people. They are praising Governor Lalong of Plateau State. Can't you see he's doing well? Because there is a, not even Sariki, there is an emir of Jos. These are the things you ought to understand. But they will come after you. They will try to inundate you with conflicting and confusing messages. If you are not strong, you fall for it. Please ask those from Auchi, when did Islam come to Auchi in Edo State? Go and ask. Like play. If you let us forget, Sokoto is too far, Kanu is too far, or Katsina is too far. Use Auchi that is close to home. Auchi, use Auchi as an example. In Edo State. Auchi in Edo State is almost Islamic. Edo, Igodomigodo. If you don't know, let me tell you. That is their game plan. What they intended to do was to dangle 2023 in front of you. He's going to the south. He's going to the west. He's going to the east. As you're busy preparing and salivating to enter into Asorok in 2023, before you wake up, they will tell you, oh, please be a good Nigerian. Don't evict those in your forest. They are feeding their cattle. If not for the coming of IPOB, do you know what would have become of you? For everybody. I said everybody. If not for IPOB, all of you in the zoo would have been gone by now. What they want to do is to unleash mayhem by next year. So there'll be no elections. Before you know it, Britain will step in and say, oh, but leave them now. After all, you have Igbo people in Sabongeri in Kanu. Why don't you allow them to be in your forest in Okwa, in Ebonyi, in Anambra? Leave them now. Let them relax. Why don't they take over Edo State? Oh, leave them. In the next 50, 60 years, you're gone. Finished as a race. Ask yourself this question. Why must they conquer with their cattle? Under tort law, Google it, T-O-R-T. T-O-R for Romeo, T for Tango. Tort law. Under tort law, you don't even need to legislate about Fulani entering into your farm. Once you see them, you kill all of them. Because they have come to destroy your livelihood and your property. When somebody comes into your house to steal your flat screen TV, do you allow them to go free? Then why must they go to your farm and destroy your crops? When you say it's hate speech, mind what you say. I say, are you a fool? Are you telling me I can drive pigs into the palace of the emir, or should I say the Sultan of Sokoto, and they will allow you to go free? They're telling you, oh, we need to move cattle from place to place. Let us go and do piggery in the north. Let us go to Sokoto and do piggery now. And be rearing pigs very close to the palace of the Sultan of Sokoto, and you see what will happen to everybody. Why must you then allow it to happen to you? Why must all of you allow Fulani to intimidate you all the time? They hire some idiots, both male and female idiots, loud-mouthed fools. All the time. All the time. I don't know exactly what is happening. I was doing this, and is somebody disconnecting me? I have no idea what the hell is going on. Somebody appears to be disconnecting me from our system. I don't know. You know, the attack comes from everywhere. I know Facebook is pretty stable. I don't know why people are doing this. Somebody all of a sudden switched what I'm saying on our satellite and our radio, and also on our apps. And I have no idea why they will do that, but we'll continue. We will continue. We are back, we are reconnecting, and we have reconnected on that very platform. That's what they will do all the time. They try to attack us. They pay. Do you know how much money they're paying people to try to stop what we are doing? They have always failed, and they will continue to fail. What we are lecturing this evening, I'm sure that Facebook will not like it. I'm sure Britain is not going to like it. I'm sure that all the agents of neocolonialism, none of them is going to like it. I know they won't like it. I know they're not going to like it. Actually, why is somebody from USA trying to tamper with what we are doing? Is somebody from the USA trying to tamper with? Tell somebody in the United States of America, somebody there is trying to tamper with what we are doing. Please tell them to get off, that I'm live on air. Please. Somebody from Radio USA 2 at ipob.org is seriously messing about with our program this evening. Tell them to please clear off. Let them bugger off. I don't care who the idiot is. Radio USA 2 should not please interfere with what we are doing. And I need confirmation, please. Please do bear with me. I need confirmation that those of you listening via the app, that you are listening, please. Somebody idiotically in the USA is coming into our platform this evening to try and disrupt what we're doing. How foolish, how hopeless. Very, very sad indeed. But we must continue. We should continue. I want everybody to listen, please, to what I have to say. Under the extant laws of the damnable Zoological Republic, grazing on another man's land without permission is called trespass. And when somebody trespasses on your property, you can do to them whatever you like. It is the law, natural law, obtainable all over the world, which happens when a person intentionally enters your land without permission. What is now happening in the zoo is that the states, or in Nigeria, Nigerian state, the so-called, oh, we want one more state, we want two more states. All these states, they are mushroom local government areas, glorified local government. They cannot do anything. They cannot even enforce this very law. Do you know why they cannot enforce it? Because what you have in Nigeria is a federal police. I want people to listen very carefully. You are running a federation. A federation sometimes, because the zoo animals, they copied the United States of America Constitution. In America, you don't even have federal police. What you have is FBI. They investigate. Now, if they come to, say, Georgia, and they investigate, when they finish the investigation, they now hand it over to the local police, be it county, be it metropolitan, be it whatever it is, county or metropolitan police. They now prosecute you via the office of the public prosecutor, or they call it, what they call it again, the, I've forgotten what it's called, the prosecutor in each state. Somebody's going to tell me in America. It's called, not Attorney General, it's called something. I've forgotten what it's called. It's escaped me completely. Old age is catching up with me. What is it called again? They actually vote them into power. I'm sure one of those very clever people in America will tell me very, very shortly. One of those very clever people in America will tell me, what's it called? You know, the one you, not at, you know, the state one that you vote for, the prosecutor in the state. Some of you in America, please send me a message via Signal, please. What is the name of, oh my goodness, it's called, is it Attorney General? Not Attorney General, no, not at all. But I know they vote for that very individual in America. They now prosecute you. But now, let me tell you something about the zoo that you don't know. Because Nigeria runs only one tier. In a federation, you're supposed to have multi-tier. You have the federal, you have the state, you have the local or county government or whatever it is. But in Nigeria, very funny enough, they claim they're running a federal structure. They only run a federal police. So that when somebody commits a crime that is not a federal crime, but a crime legislated for by a particular state, how therefore do you expect district attorney, thank you very much, Uchenna, thank you, it's called district attorney, and they vote for them in America. Do you know America has no federal police? There is no Nigerian police force. Even their name makes me sick. Police force. How can a police be a force? I asked them before, the Britain that gave you policing in England, do the police carry guns on the street harassing people? The answer is no. Where did you learn this very primitive behavior from? They cannot tell you, but I'll tell you this evening. In America, there is something called the district attorney. They prosecute. Now, let me tell you how it goes. If you commit a federal crime, it's called a federal offense in America. Please, those of you in America, correct me if I'm wrong. And luckily enough for me, my secretary is a lawyer in America. Now, if you commit a federal offense, FBI will step in and investigate the crime. Hand over to the local district attorney for them to prosecute you. If you commit a state crime, the state police or whatever, the state or county police will prosecute you. But because Nigeria is run by Fulani Janjaweed, they know that this law exists that prohibits Fulani men from putting their cattle in your farm. And because you only have one enforcement arm, a federal police, not state, all of that nonsense, we have banned a cattle movement as they did with the Yoruba governors, and only yesterday, thankfully, Dave Umahi announced that they're now also banning movement of cattle around the whole of the East, should I say Southeast, in this very case. Do you know why after announcing it, you still see cattle on the road the next day, as they did in Yoruba land?